Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to another video. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm back with another unboxing, and as you can see it's from Cleef Arpels. And I do apologize in advance, I have a few more unboxings to get through with you, which I do realize might be a bit boring, but it's honestly just because I've been off the platform for such a long time now that I've accumulated things during that time, and I just really want to share them with you, especially considering that they might be things that are on your wish list, and it's just an opportunity to show you what they look like up close. So the item in this unboxing is something that I have been super excited about because it's something that I had been thinking about for a really long time. I've definitely mentioned it multiple times on this channel in my past videos, especially after my last unboxing from Cleef. I'm pretty sure I said that it would be my next purchase from the brand, and I was not lying. So you might, without even looking at the title of the video, know exactly what this is. Another reason that I was super excited for this item was because of how long it took to get here. When I say that Cleef tested my patience, oh my god. I was on pins and needles, to say the least. So I had planned to buy this piece for my birthday this year, which was in March. And based on my previous order with them, I figured I would at least order it a few months earlier than my birthday so that there would be a chance of it arriving in time for my birthday. So I was initially quoted a 6-month wait, and my last order I was quoted a 4-month wait, but it only took, I think, just over 2 months. So like just over half of the quota time. So I was really hoping this would come within like 3 months. And you know, I would check in every now and then with my essay for like a status update, and it was just never ready. So it actually did end up taking, I think, like a week over 5 months to get here. So when I say this tested my patience, I'm really not joking. And I mean, I know I was quoted 6 months, but that's a really long time to wait for an order. But anyway, it's here now and I love it. And I wear it every single chance that I get. So this is the Cleef Arpels 6 motif Sweet Alhambra bracelet in rose gold. Now I'm very sorry I shot this video in direct light and it just completely blows out the color of the rose gold. However, I have also posted a short version of this unboxing, and that was filmed in less intense light, so you can actually better see the color of the rose gold. Just in case you're curious, because I know that when I was first researching Cleef and Cleef's rose gold pieces, I had a really hard time finding videos and photos that accurately captured the tone of the gold, and found that stock photos on the website made them look so pink. So I had a hard time kind of understanding what they would look like in person, especially because they weren't available for me to see in the boutique. But yeah, I was better able to capture the tone of the gold of this bracelet in the short unboxing. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. But yeah, this is one of the most recent additions to my jewelry collection. I absolutely love it. Similar to the single motif version of this bracelet, which I also have, this one is much daintier than the vintage size Alhambra pieces, which I like because I feel like it's more casual. You can wear it, you know, every day, and it's a bit more under the radar. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this purchase, and I actually feel quite lucky that I was able to order it, because if you didn't know, well, first let me preface this by saying that this could be Canada specific, because I have heard other things about different markets like in the US, but there are certain items like hammered gold items that are in high demand and that can only be special ordered. And here, at least, this bracelet is one of those items. And there are specific windows throughout the year during which you can and cannot order those items. I think the way that it works is that the brand will take orders for one of these items until their workshop is no longer able to keep up with the orders, and then they'll close the orders for that item until their workshop has at least caught up to a certain standard, like to ensure that they're able, for example, to deliver all the orders that they have within the 6th month period that they've quoted you, if that makes sense. So for much of last year, this bracelet was not orderable, but luckily by the time I was ready to order it, they had recently reopened orders for this item. Now, of course, if you go into a boutique and it's there, you can just buy it from the boutique itself without having to order it. But I suspect that at least here, when you see it in the boutique, it's probably somebody else's returned special order. Because as my essay told me, they don't often just have it come into stock. Similarly, of course, if you see it online, you can, and it's available to add to cart, then you can definitely order it there. But at least in my experience, I have never ever seen this bracelet appear on the Canadian website. Perhaps I just missed it because I wasn't really, diligently going in and checking stock. And because of that, like probably the only way I could get it is through special ordering it. But yeah, for me at least, I've never seen it on the website. I've always seen, the button that says call to order or call client services to order, something along those lines. I've never actually seen it in stock on the website. However, I think if you're in the US, it might be a bit easier, obviously just because there are more stores, the market is bigger, so you're definitely more likely to find it in boutique there, but also online. I've heard that it does pop up, not frequently, but it does pop up as so long as you're regularly checking the website. I think eventually you will find it. And I've also heard from other people that if you call client services and order through them in the US, if they're able to locate that piece in one of their US boutiques, they'll fulfill your order by sourcing it from that store directly rather than having you place a special order. I'm not sure if it's the same in Canada because I actually have never tried to do an over the phone order here. I've always just gone to my home store. So it could be the same here. I just haven't tried. And I also feel like it would be less successful anyway because we have fewer stores throughout the country and hence less access to stock. Another thing I should mention is that for my 2 previous orders from Van Cleef, I was only required to put down a 30% deposit and I was allowed to pay the remainder upon arrival of the item. However, for this item, I was required to pay for it in full and settle the tax when the item arrives. So effectively, they've changed the deposit policy for pre-orders. Now, I believe this change was made maybe almost 2 years ago in the US, but it was only more recently implemented in Canada. So I thought that was a good thing to know, especially if you have plans to order something from Van Cleef soon, because depending on what it is and how frequently it's stocked, it may be worthwhile to kind of keep a lookout on the website instead, because if you can order from there, then they won't be holding on to your money for months and months at a time before you actually get your item. And one more update that I was given. So previously, if you had placed a special order, you could either make the partial deposit or pay in full, including tax. And if you chose the latter, your item would just be sent to you, or you could pick it up in boutique. And in my case, I was able to pay the full deposit, but settle the tax upon pickup in the boutique. However, now for all special orders, you have to pay the entire deposit plus tax, and you'll no longer be able to pick up your order in the boutique. Instead, they'll ship it to you directly. So while that was always kind of an option, it's going to now become the standard. And I wonder what you think about this, because I understand that it can be more convenient. However, I don't really like the idea of the full deposit up front, just because certain items can take months and months, if not years, to arrive. Although the upside to that is that you lock in the price when you pay for it, so you're safe from any subsequent price increases. But aside from that, not being able to see your item in boutique when it does come in, I think could be kind of problematic, especially if something, for example, arrives damaged, because I feel like that would give the company more space to like absolve themselves from dealing with that, right? Like they could always say that you're the one that caused the damage. So I don't know, I think it could take away from that layer of protection that you have in addressing any issues that you have with your item at the boutique with your SA before you take it home. And of course, they say that they're doing this to kind of streamline the process, but I do feel like it takes away from the buying experience. And I mean, I personally really like the boutique experience, like going and picking up my item there and trying it on and looking around. If it just comes in the mail, it's kind of like any other online shopping experience, like ordering from Sephora or Amazon, So I kind of do feel like that takes away from it. But yeah, would love to hear what you think, both about these changing policies and about my newest Van Cleef edition. But that's all I have for you today, friends. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!